Have you noticed the price drops of the cameras this week?
No.
It's insane. The 5D Mark III is insane, under $3,000. But the big one
What is it now?
What?
I'm curious, what is it now?
$27.99.
Wow.
I believe Allen's has it for that.
That's
there's
good.
rebates, there's price drops, there's a lot going on, which means Q4 probably, or sorry, Q1.
Getting ready to release a new camera.
Canons. But what's interesting is the Nikon D610 has dropped another $100.
Really?
It's now $14.99.
That's crazy.
That's almost
for full frame.
You know what? That's free.
Ben Stonewell, huh?
$14.99.
Yeah.
That's free. I mean,
pretty much.
That's like free. You don't have to give them $1,499. You should just give it to me for free because it's under that magic number.
That is a solid price, though. Even if it's just for a backup or something like that. I mean, $1,500. That's awesome.
That is a solid buy. All right, let's get the show started.
All right, let's do it.
You ready?
Yeah.
Jared Poland, FroKnowsPhoto.com. Welcome to RAWtalk episode 113. The 113th episode. We're supposed to have a guest today, Bon Jovi's photographer, Sports Illustrated photographer, just very accomplished freaking photographer. David Bergman is supposed to be here today.
Hopefully he comes in.
He's supposed to come in. And if he doesn't come in, we will let you know. But I'm looking forward to sitting and interviewing him about the new book, the Bon Jovi photo book that's called... I should have wrote that down. I have the book. It's called Work, I believe.
I think it's Work.
It's Work. It's because I'm viewing my photograph. I think I have some. I just saw the picture of the book in my head.
Oh, I know it's W something. It's like,
I think it's Work.
I didn't know if it was Work or Walk or
Well,
something.
I bought the book. It's over there, and it has Bon Jovi on the cover, and it's raining. And
The cover's pretty solid.
the book is solid.
Yeah.
It's a solid book, well printed. The behind the scenes looks are awesome.
Your favorite?
I do have some questions about that.
Okay.
Because he had all access for 200 or so shows.
You must have seen some things.
It wasn't just that. I wrote down here, I have his notes because I researched everything. 200 shows, 30 countries, and he had all freaking access. He's done, oh yeah, I wrote this down. 13 Sports Illustrated covers, 11 Super Bowls, World Series, Presidents, Olympics, and more.
Wow.
I should save the ass kissing till he gets here. It's not ass kissing, it's just accomplishments.
Yeah,
Having
yeah.
13 covers for Sports Illustrated.
That's awesome.
Having one cover for Sports Illustrated is
Do they
awesome.
still do Sports Illustrated print?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's
'Cause I haven't seen one physically for a while. That's why I
they
asked.
got rid of a lot of the photographers that aren't full time.
Okay.
So a lot of those guys are all freelance now. Sports Illustrated has posted some of the greatest photos ever. I mean, the quality of images to flip through that book is amazing. Those magazines are amazing. But obviously, times are changing. It's not the same online. To see Sports Illustrated as if you printed it, saw a print book magazine.
Especially the swimsuit edition.
Oh, well, that's not.
Well, that sells out every year.
Who needs that when you've got like the internet? I mean,
Oh, God.
all right, let's get into our first plug. We got a plug. It's this week's episode. I don't say that. I don't say this week's episode is brought to you by people because it's not. But Adamos is plugging this week. Why is Adamos plugging this week? Because I am talking about the need to eat pizza. I took that from Preston and Steve.
Oh.
He did this anyway. I went through the Adamos contest for the Ninja Star. I went through all of the entries that came in. There were 30 of them.
30?
Yeah, a
So it
bunch
really
came in
jumped
the
the
last
last
2
week.
days.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I went through, and what I did is I had gray meant I watched it. I
Okay.
put flags on it. Red means Green meant
Thumbs up.
that's going to be a finalist. And yellow meant maybe.
Okay.
So I have 7 greens and like 2 yellows. The rest are red or gray.
Okay.
So there's some really funny ones, and they're all over the place. I'd like to sit down with you to try to pick a winner, but I'm going to put up the 7 choices that I think just for everybody to look. And there's a link popping up on the screen. Make a note right now that will take you over to the page where those 7 are posted. I don't think I've picked the winner yet. I have to decide whether that's going to happen. But I want to post those 7 because there's some awesome ones between like final fight or Hadouken, that type of thing. Or there's some highly produced ones. There's ones that spoofed our bobblehead commercial.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, there's some.
Sweet.
There's some funny ones there.
Okay.
I love the interactions with the kids. Parents making videos with their kids or guys. Probably getting weird looks from videos that they're making themselves from people just walking by, like, what are these guys doing? Well, whatever. It's really cool to see people going out and creating.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the point of the Adamos contest, because
just get out there and create.
Get out there and create, because it could be the lowest quality production in the world, but be funny and strike a chord, or it could be the most highly done one and maybe not even be interesting. So there were some really interesting ones. So we're going to be giving away that Atomos Ninja Star to one of those 7. Cool. I'm going to also have you look at them as well, because I want to pick a wiener and then make a video about it. But I also wanted to talk about, we started the year not with an Atomos.
We didn't. Yeah, I guess you're right. Has it only been a year?
Almost.
Not even.
Well, I think I've almost been here for a year at this point.
Right, and he used to have to reset all the cameras, including the center channel.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought we've had it for a while.
We've had it a while. We've had it for a lot of episodes now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we've been using the Atomos Ninja Blade. Is that the Blade? So that's not
Blade
the Ninja 2.
Wait.
No,
the
Blade.
Blade. The Blade.
Yeah,
there's the Blade.
First.
There's the Ninja 2. So
correct. We've evolved from the Ninja 2 to the Blade.
The Blade's more expensive, has a nicer screen.
Definitely a nicer screen.
But the Ninja 2 for just recording and everything is going to do a perfect job.
Yeah.
We used it for a long time in here without an issue. And then when they came out with this, they're like, here, why don't you use the Blade? And we're like, okay, we'll use the Blade. And so we've been using this. It would be awesome to have it on all the cameras, but we don't kind of need it right now.
Well, and it takes up a lot more memory.
It takes up a lot more memory. But the reason we have it go... Here's the point of the Atomos, and we've been saying it, and most of you guys that have listened know about the Adamos, but I want you to understand, with more and more video productions being done, to have the ability to shoot directly uncompressed files with the 422 or whatever, with a higher bit rate, whether you're on the Canon or the Nikon, to the SSD or to a hard drive on the thing, not only are you going to get better quality, it's going to be in a codec ready to edit by the time you get it to the computer, and you're using a better capability of what your sensor is there to do.
Yeah.
Because you're getting a better, basically better footage off the camera. And on top of that, you don't have your 20-minute or 30-minute record time limit. So if you're doing not a long exposure, but a time lapse of a concert or something, and you put an Adamos up there and you're like, run for the next X amount of hours, because you can you can dumb down the quality, but at least it's going to keep running without you having to reset it every 30 minutes. Freaking A, check the damn thing out.
And keep in mind, we have the AC adapter for this one, so we're always plugged in, but it does come with Sony batteries, or the batteries that they...
Well, and they also made that Juicy thing. I don't know if that Juicy thing, that new Juicy thing...
the extra plug-in power pack.
I wonder if that will power this thing as well, because it powers the camera. Yeah, so there's all those different options. So we're very appreciative of Adamos. We hope. Well, we're going to continue to use it.
Oh yeah. Well, I use it as a scratch track because it's the only one that records the entire show.
Exactly. So it's how you line everything up.
And we record in ProRes LT specifically, just for a little lower of a file size. But yeah, it's great.
But yeah, we don't need the highest of the highest. But at some point we will. Yeah. When we start shooting those shows and using those other cameras, we're going to hook these things up and go to town.
Oh yeah.
So that is the Adamos. We really appreciate having them for the last year. So check out Adamos if you're looking for something for you and you're doing a lot of video. Great options between the Atomos Ninja Star, which is the smaller one without a screen, the Ninja 2, and then the Blade, and then the Samurai if you're really high end, which is 4K.
And they have the Shogun too, right? Did you say that already?
Shogun. The Shogun has the plugs
That's the 7-inch screen. It does.
I thought that was the Samurai.
No,
the newest
they have the Samurai too. The newest one's the Shogun.
That's the big with the fan in it that we saw when we were in New York. Yeah. Really cool looking screen, 4K. Yep. So that's that.
Yeah, that does 4K.
All right, before we get into your photo news, I have a contest announcement.
Okay.
Huge. Well, this is the big one I've been alluding to in the past.
Epic.
Tremendous. The one where it's going to be, you get to choose between a Nikon D750 or a Canon 7D Mark II.
Ooh.
I'm giving those away. Well, one of them away. They're going to choose.
Nice.
So this is for the FroKnowsPhoto Guide to DSLR Video Contest. When I released the FroKnowsPhoto Guide to Getting Out of Auto, a couple months into it, I did a huge contest where I gave away either a Canon 6D or a Nikon D600 at the time. And the person chose the 6D. But it was a random contest. So how is this contest going to work, and what am I giving away? It's simple. If you have purchased the FroKnowsPhoto Guide to DSLR Video, you're already entered. If you purchase the guide now until the contest ends, I believe I'm going to end it at the end of February. So it's going to run for at least 2 months to give everybody a chance to enter.
Cool.
You will get entered when you purchase it. And to be fair, there's a no purchase necessary option as well, where you go to the website. We'll have the link up for where you can go to enter for free. You don't need to purchase. No purchase necessary means you get entered. So we're going to select a random number of those to go into the final contest. So everybody that purchases, this is how the prizes. Your choice between a Canon 7D Mark II or a Nikon D750.
Nice.
They're not, one's full frame, one's not.
I was going to say, why did you go that route?
Well, because I own the D750 and I own the 5D Mark III.
7D Mark II.
The 7D Mark II.
You always do that, yeah.
Because the prices are close.
Okay.
You're at a little over $2,000 for one and you're at just under $2,000 for the other. Or close. But so if somebody's a Nikon shooter, they can take the Nikon. If they're a Canon shooter, they can take the Canon. But we're also going to give away the DJI Phantom.
Okay.
The Plus 2.
That's the same prize, or is that a separate prize?
That's a separate prize.
Ooh.
No, there's multiple chances to win. I'm not just going to give away like
multiple tiers,
$15,000 to one person.
Yeah.
I like having the option for multiple people to win multiple cool prizes. Right. So there's more options to win, which is great. So you've got that. There's going to be Adamos prizes. There's going to be Squarespace prizes. There's probably going to be a bunch of those for people to get business Squarespaces because those are like $200. But to get a year of business Squarespace is definitely worth it. A Video Mic X, which is $800 from Rode.
Yeah, that's a
I'll
hefty
probably
mic.
add other prizes that I'm not announcing now. But this is really how it's going to work. If you purchased it or you're going to purchase it before that date, you're going to be entered. If you do the no purchase necessary option, you're going to be entered as well. But here's what's going to happen. Everybody that made a purchase, your name is going to go into a big box. Everybody's name. It's going into that box.
It's going to be a lot of names.
Right. Well, we're not going into numbers.
Okay.
But we give them everybody's name's going in that, so everybody has a chance there. Now, with the no purchase necessary option, I'm going to pick a certain amount of those names randomly, and they're going to go in the big box as well. The box gets shaken up. Shake it up. Shake it up. So that everybody gets a chance. So the no purchase necessary options go in, and then the other options go in, so that, boom.
Cool.
So that's going to happen. Then we're going to do a special show. A special Wheel of Fro contest show.
You're just going to announce names the whole show?
Well, we're going to produce it like a TV show.
Cool.
There's going to be an announcer.
Bob Barker.
There's going to be a Vanna White.
Are you going to get a stick mic?
Yeah.
I already have the stick mic in
cool.
works.
Nice.
Yep. There's going to be the stick. Well, I'm going to be the commentator guy, the Bob Barker version. We're going to have a guy that reads the names and picks the names, and we're going to have a Vanna White that puts them on the thing. So a girl in a dress.
Is that going to be like Maria?
Yeah. if she's in town. If not, we'll just hire a different model.
Yeah.
And so what's going to happen is we'll pick a prize. We'll start at the bottom prizes. We'll put the people's names on the wheel, spin the wheel. Whoever lands on it gets that prize. And now I have to decide, am I going to take everybody's name off and put all new names up on the wheel, or just take the winner off and replace it? It may be better just to take the names off and put more names on, so that's more chances to win out of the box.
That'll be a fun show.
So that's going to be an interesting show. So that's that. So this contest is going to run for the next 2 weeks, and there's lots of thousands of dollars in prizes here.
Very cool.
So
very cool.
What would you take if you could choose between the 7D Mark II or the Nikon D750? If you won this, which one would you take?
Now, what if they want the drone instead of both the cameras?
They're not.
Okay.
They'll get they
don't have that option.
The top prize are the cameras.
It makes
one
sense
or the other.
because they're more expensive.
The drone one is right below that, so somebody's going to win that. And then the other prizes, we're just going to go down the list.
Finally giving away that drone.
Yeah. Well, I told you we were giving that away.
Yeah.
So that's definitely happening.
Cool.
All right. So that's it. If you purchased it, you're entered. If you haven't, go ahead and do that. And there's also the no purchase option. You're still better off buying it, though. Well, because you're going to learn from it.
Yeah.
And everybody's name goes in the box for that one.
There you go.
Photo news.
A new website, they're allowing photographers to safely rent out their own personal gear to other fellow photographers. It's called ShareGrid. The site describes themselves as an Airbnb for cameras, which I think describes it pretty well. Now, every rental is insured and every renter is individually verified, just like any normal operating rental website. Here's how it works. After signing up, logging in, and browsing for an item that you need, you choose the dates you want to use it for. Then you'll select one of the many different options for insuring the rental. Damage waiver for smaller protection, annual insurance, full security deposit, or your choice of third-party insurance. Now, here's the biggie. The owner has to accept the rental. Once accepted, ShareGrid handles the payment. So the owner could always just say, no, I don't want to rent to this guy. He looks shady in his profile picture. I don't know. Now, the service is still in its beta launch and is set to go public early next year, but you can reserve a spot for yourself now if you want. If you do, you better have all your gear already on lens tag because obviously this is a big thing. I don't know about you, but I'm not comfortable putting my stuff on there.
Nobody's renting my gear.
Yeah, no one's renting my gear at all.
I barely
especially
let people
to a complete
borrow
stranger.
things.
I mean, even if it's for a decent price, I'm not putting it up there.
I've let very few people borrow lenses.
I have too, but only personal friends. Close friends. Yeah,
I can't see just letting a random person. What do you? Then you have to go meet them and stuff.
That's the thing. They didn't really describe that part. I don't know if there's. I guess it's just normal shipping. I don't know how that works. I think ShareGrid only handles the payment.
Why
renters?
Why'd they have to go and make things so complicated?
I don't know, Avril. Why?
I hear that she's been out of the public eye for a little bit.
Has she?
Yes, I think she's still pregnant. She says she's suffering from an undisclosed illness.
Pregnancy?
I hope Chad Kroeger didn't knock her up. That kid's gonna come out and he's gonna be like, "I'm a skater boy. Look at this photograph." You know, what's it gonna look like? It's gonna be like hot Avril and then the face of Chad Kroeger, which is like terrible.
Oh God!
It's like, who wants to have the face of Chad Kroeger?
Yeah, that's true. Chad Kroeger does.
Did you hear their new song?
Together? It's like a ballad or something,
No, not
right?
their new song. That one's fine. I like ballads. But Nickel Crap has a new song.
Nickel Crap?
Yeah.
I actually saw a commercial for their album, which is really weird in this day and age.
They're out because they're so old school.
Yeah.
But
buy the new Nickelback album.
Yeah. Coming now, live, 10 new tracks from Nickelback,
Whoa.
the top-selling artists of the years 2000s of the decade. Yes. Oh, here's some new songs. Look at that photograph too.
Part 2.
How you remind me. How you remind me. Part 2. And other hits that we can't remember yet. Because that's Nickelback. Nickelback in stores now. If you want to buy it on a CD, go find a CD player.
Somebody's here.
Come in. FedEx is here. Postman Fro. I'll be right there.
So FedEx actually delivers straight to your door?
I mean, I'm on the 3rd floor, and he came up, but he didn't call.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, that was very nice. I guess he wanted the workout.
It is a workout to get to the top floor here.
But I'm very appreciative that he actually does that, because some of the other FedEx people don't.
Well, yeah, because they don't care. They just let them, throw it at the front door, and that's it.
Well, I've had the time where the FedEx guy, to bring your laptop when I bought yours, said that he made a stop at the door.
Oh, I was here, wasn't I, that day?
You weren't here that day.
Oh.
But he didn't make a stop at the door. He didn't put a tag on the door.
Nothing.
I was downstairs from 10:20 till 10:30 until it was supposed to come, and it didn't come. And then I called them and yeah, it said that you weren't there. I'm like,
you didn't even try.
Wasn't here. The guy didn't get out of his vehicle. And so when the guy came back, I didn't want to be a dick, but I was
a dick.
But I didn't want to be a dick. But what happened, he came over and he comes out of his car. I'm like, yeah, there wasn't a tag left. And I'm like, yeah, I was looking for the tag. I was out here. He's like, oh, yeah, he's just like, I tried to call and the box wasn't working. I'm like, dude, you didn't even get out of your car. I didn't say that. I was just like, whatever, because I just wanted to say something.
Yeah, because he's clearly lying.
Back to photo news.
A plethora of rare unpublished rock and roll photographs have made their way online from a photographer named P.J. Plutzer. He has over 3,000 never before seen slides and negatives from the 70s and 80s that have sat in his closet for the past 30 plus years. Well, let me get to the names and then you'll probably sing off every single person I name. The photographs include images of the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Bob Dylan, Queen, Springsteen, Clapton, Bowie, and the list goes on and on.
Wait, Queen.
Is that the only song
we need to do some Queen songs. What's that really?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
We got that. We got Radio Gaga, Radio Goo Goo. That's not even their best song, but dude, Queen is so good. Mm-hmm. Or you could do David Bowie and Queen together and get Under Pressure.
Mick Jagger and Bowie.
Ding da da ding da da ding 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 ding. Under Pressure.
That's that Vanilla Ice song, right?
Getting down on me.
They're so close.
Getting down on you. Under Pressure.
Interesting note, he says there was no 3-song rule in effect just yet during that time. He says he was free to run around the venue and shoot wherever he wanted for as long as he wanted to. Apparently, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has been contacted about these images and have expressed interest in scanning a good amount of them. Some solid rock and roll moments captured in time. Some were pretty good. I mean, I only saw a couple of them that they scanned, but...
All right. So I wanted you to...
film days.
Yeah. There's a difference between quality images coming out of the 70s and the 80s and these images coming out of the 70s and 80s.
I thought there was a handful of decent
There's a reason
ones.
that these were stuck in the guy's closet and never saw the light of day. Because they are snapshots. They are flat-out snapshots with the occasional something. But when you look at the classics, your Bob Gruens, your Jim Marshalls, all the other people in the 70s and 80s that were shooting quality work with Zeppelin, with the Stones, these are just live snapshots. It's like somebody going to a venue today, not that they can get their camera in, but getting access and taking shitty photos with their Rebel, like that guy that shoots for whoever he shoots for.
Oh, he's our favorite.
Oh,
We're not going to name who he
What's
shoots
his name?
for.
Do I even know his name?
I don't know his name.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
Because he's always getting photos with people backstage, which is a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
It's a no-no. Terrible photographer. Like horrible. I mean like terrible.
And he's at every show.
Because he'll do it for free.
Yeah.
Which brings me up to that point that I wasn't going to talk about real quick. I made the video about it when I turned down for what? when I turned down shooting feline named guy the other week. I made that video where they called and they offered me $500 to go shoot, but the caveat was I had to turn things over at the end of the shoot. Oh yes, and you can't do anything with the images. So everybody, you can go watch that video where basically I talked about it and why I didn't take it. The one thing that I always go back and forth on in my own brain is, am I saying no too much? Does saying no at some point mean that nobody's going to call you? Do you risk that? And it's one of those fine lines, because if I said yes to that and they're like, oh, we need you to do this for us, but we need to own everything and you can't do anything with it because you already did this for us for that price and no rights. You know, that's what you have to take into consideration.
That was my issue this week. I got asked to shoot at Madison Square Garden tomorrow for same fee, $500. But that's my edit day for RAWtalk, and I have plans this weekend. I can't edit around it, so I pretty much have.
Was that the only reason, though?
That was mainly the reason. The other reason was that I would be in the photo pit photographing. This is for, I'm not even going to say what it's for, but basically, I would have to do more of the sales shots, so I would have to do more of the boring stuff, the crowd stuff, the logos.
It wasn't
the
shooting
vendors,
the show. Like if you were shooting the
coverage.
show,
yeah. But they did say I can shoot for myself personally if I want to. I'll be in the pit. I can once I get those safe shots out of the way.
But you still only get 3 songs.
Actually, I don't think I will. I think I actually get full access. Not full access, but I get
doesn't
the
matter.
full
The sets are only 3 songs long anyway.
Exactly, for those type of shows, which I will not say what it is. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to headlining acts, I'll probably be reduced to 2-3 songs.
But you chose not to do it.
So far, I might do it, but I think they already found a replacement because I said no to it already a couple of days ago. So I don't blame them.
No,
I just don't have time.
So coming back to those photos, I looked at what they scanned, not sharp. And I know it's the 70s and 80s, so it's a little different. But the their Kodachrome and things like that, that's fine. It's just there's not even a fine line between snapshots and solid images. Solid images and keepers, you know when you look at them. When I was going through these photos that they posted, yes, it's cool that they found the Who and the Rolling Stones and Bowie and Dylan and all this
Bono
old
when he's
stuff.
like 20.
Young Bono, not
Really
in focus.
young.
Not in focus.
It wasn't in focus?
No, not even close.
Oh, I just looked through real quick.
Most of them are just snapshots from a crowd or from the pit. That's the difference.
Now, I wonder if they actually went through all 3,000 and these are the ones they put up as the sample shots.
Or they
as
just
the best.
grabbed a couple.
Or, if they just grabbed a bunch and were like,
if
here.
you were going to go show pictures, you'd probably go and find some of the better ones
And it
to
also
show.
looks like they were not edited at all, just scanned straight up and put on the web.
Now, if there's amazing shots, there could be a couple of shots. It's the same thing today as somebody just starting off and going to a show. They will get occasionally a good shot here and there, but out of 600.
Yeah.
It could be the same thing here. There may be some amazing live shot, and it's cool to see. Like, it was really cool to see that stuff, but the first thing that came to my mind is like Jim Marshall and Bob Gruen and what they captured at the same time period that was 8 million times better than what they posted.
Yeah. And you had the whole show to shoot it too.
I'm just being honest here.
Yeah.
This is honesty. Honesty is such a lovely word. Do you know what the original you know what that song was originally sung about?
No.
So on the behind the music with Billy Joel, I think one of his producers started to sing sodomy. And so he changed it to honesty.
That's good.
Back to photo news.
Back to photo news. There's a new behind-the-scenes mini documentary about National Geographic's photographic engineer named Kenji Yamaguchi.
Kenji Yamaguchi!
Awesome name. He fixes and modifies cameras in Nat Geo's basement for all of their photographers. Nikon sent him over to Nat Geo 32 years ago to train their original technician, in which he pretty much ended up taking over. His goal to simply help the photographer accomplish their goal, no matter what kind of rig he has to build up and get done for them. We need one of these guys. Just for FroKnowsPhoto.
Well, Hing.
Someone that'll build us whatever we need.
A Hing. That's what Hing does.
Oh,
Hing
ironic.
builds that stuff.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic?
Don't you think?
It's like rain on a wedding day.
Hasselblad is offering a major price cut on their H5D cameras for those that can actually afford it, nearly selling them for half price. All this month, December that is, the camera brand is offering huge discounts on their gear. Specifically, the H5D 40 is selling for about $10,000, where it normally goes for close to $19,000.
I just would be very upset if I was one of the other people that bought one.
Oh, yeah.
And now they're dropping. It's like, this is the fine line in business that you play, is when to run sales, how much to do those sales for, because holiday sales, let's talk about that real quick. Mm-hmm. I'm still getting Newegg emails every day that are like 48 hour special.
Extending it another 5 days.
They're just nonstop and they go on all year, and it's lost its value of what to buy. Mm-hmm. And when I did my sale this year, the holiday sale is one thing. I'm like, the holiday sale starts now and it ends here. And that's on discounts on certain products that stay the whole time. Like the shirts, $11.99. That sale's still up at store.froknowsphoto.com. But when it comes to the video guides, I didn't discount the DSLR video guide. That's too new. That would be so wrong to do
for those that already
for the people that bought it 30 days prior.
Yeah.
You don't want to train people to start to think that, oh, well, once it comes out, in 1 month, it's going to get a sale. Maybe 7, 8, 9 months down the road, you just want to randomly put something up for a day or two. That's when you're going to capture more of a sale. Like putting up the Black Friday through Cyber Monday, 4 days. I discounted the FroKnowsPhoto Beginner Guide, was 25.4% off, and the Flash Guide, 25.4% off. Either one or both, whichever you wanted to buy, because those are 2 years old and 3 years old. And I don't run sales very often.
Yeah.
So I think what happens is the more you run sales, the less people are actually going to take action.
The less the value, yeah.
But if people realize that you only do it once a year or twice a year at most,
jump on it.
Right, and they're not going to sit there, like you come out with something new in October, they're not going to wait till December to see if you drop the price because they want to start learning now. So that's my business advice right there. If you're running a business and it comes to sales, don't always run a sale because then that devalues your products when it comes out.
Back to Hasselblad, other discounts include $4,000 off the H5D 50, $6,000 off the H5D 60, and they're offering a lot of their lenses 20% off. So if you always want to jump in a digital medium format, now is the time, especially if you're a Hassie fan.
One thing for me.
What's up?
If you're in Vegas, we're going to Vegas for CES,
yes.
January 6th through, we're going to get there the 5th on Monday, expensive plane tickets.
To the 8th, right?
And we're going to fly home the 8th in the morning.
Yep.
If anybody works for Excalibur, or whoever owns Excalibur, let me know, because maybe we can get an upgraded room this year again, like we did last year.
That was a pretty nice suite.
Well, that was indifferent, but that was for that ClickBank thing.
Oh, yes.
Email me directly, jared@FroKnowsPhoto.com, if you work somewhere in Vegas for that. And we're going to consider doing a RAWtalk there, but we would need a place to do it. I was thinking of just putting out what hotel room I'm in, the number, and cramming a couple people into there.
I thought
that would be fun.
Actually, we thought about doing that. Where else do we think about doing that? Seattle or something?
I don't know, but maybe we'll do it. The only problem is I can't what I could do is I could take tickets, and then I could be like, email those people real quick and say, this is where it's at.
Quick, come now.
So maybe we'll do it in the hotel room as a last resort, but I don't know. I think it would be fun to do one, but if we do one, I don't want it to just be you and I sitting in a room again.
Yep.
I want it to be everybody. Mm-hmm. So if you know of a location, if you work in Vegas, if there's a museum or a hotel and there's space that we could go do it, let me know again, jared@FroKnowsPhoto.com.
Mm-hmm. Are we bringing lights for that, by the way, if we do it? Because that'll kind of suck if we don't.
Well, it depends.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Well, it's also CES. I'm sure maybe
Someone
F&B will be
have
there.
some kind
Somebody
of
we
lights
could
for us to
borrow the
borrow.
lights from.
Speaking of big money.
Oh, and AVN is not going on at the same time this year.
So
we're not going. Oh, that's right. You went with me there last year.
We have footage that we shot
We
there.
do have footage that will never be released. Because my hope there, and I'll tell everybody there why we went to AVN last year, and you went just to film, and he got recognized.
I did,
He
but
got
for the radio
recognized
station.
for the radio station, not for porn, but for the radio station.
Not for porn.
I got recognized by like 12 Fro readers.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. Like, Fro, what are you doing?
Because everyone had a camera there. All the
Everybody had a camera.
creepy people.
Well, not every. Well, yes, I'm not a big fan of when the girls are there and these guys are all like taking
They're
pictures. Like
literally
you've never seen a
jumping
girl
on top
before.
of each other. Yeah.
What we were filming. The goal there was to try to get interviews of people with their sex toys. the businesses. And I was highly disappointed because they were either Hasidic Jews who don't look good on camera and don't sound good for one. Chinese or Japanese.
And they couldn't,
They couldn't speak English. Israeli, something about Jews and porn. And then there was one guy that was great on camera.
He was really good.
He was from Billy Boy Condoms.
And we never released that video.
But he was so good because he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But then that was one out of like 20 people.
And he gave us like 1,000 condoms, like filled up our backpack. He's like, here, take all these.
The bag's almost empty now. Finally.
Oh, God.
But yeah, he gave us a lot of those. He gave us like 50 condoms.
Uh-huh. And you kept them all.
I gave you some.
Did you?
You became single for a little
maybe
bit.
That's why. They're probably just sitting in my closet or something.
But that's not where they should be sitting.
But
anyway, we went and tried to interview other people, and it was just a complete failure at how terrible they were on camera.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just awkward, and I was trying to have fun with it, and it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, how about the girl talking about like her sex scene when she shot a porn at like some fire escape?
Was that the girl where you could rent a porn star?
Yeah.
It was like, it was Airbnb for porn stars. I'm like, wait a second. So I can call and I need 2 girls and I need a guy. And she's like,
yep.
She's like, yeah. I'm like, wait, do I get to do anything? She's like, no. She's like, we're actors. I'm like, I thought it was like an escort service. I was just asking the right questions.
And then you asked like what the craziest thing is, and she went into like this crazy scene that she did.
I'll have to watch that footage.
It's like, oh my God.
All right,
I still have it.
Sorry.
Speaking of big money, a new print has earned the title of the most expensive photo
allegedly
ever sold.
Allegedly.
The image is called Phantom. And
we're not giving the name of the artist because I will not fall into this trap of a marketing ploy to bring awareness, because I wasn't going to talk about it at all, but people want to talk about it, so that's our duty, squatty potty. That's our duty as a I guess we're kind of journalists.
Yeah.
To talk about the stuff that you guys may be hearing, but we're not giving the guy's name. Because it's got... Go ahead.
Yeah, and I had to bring this up because I had like 20 people tweet at me at this story. So it's called Phantom, the actual image, and it features Arizona's Antelope Canyon.
So nice.
It was shot in color, but then he switched to black and white.
That's racism.
The price tag, it sold for $6.5 million, allegedly, to a private collector.
But there's
ridiculous.
No information. Petapixel did a follow-up talking about it.
Well, that looked like it was just opinion-based, though.
It looks opinion-based, but they're basing it off of the past for this company.
Yeah.
And it is around the time where there's holiday sales.
It's true.
That they're trying to... These people, they have stores in Vegas. They have stores all over the world. This guy takes photos. He's basically... What was that painter guy's name who died? Kincaid. He's just like Kincaid. Kincaid would do these shitty paintings that everybody loved, and they would just sell a shit ton of them.
Yeah.
Corporate. This guy takes very nice photographs, but he's marketed and branded it so well to make it think that it's fine art. $6.5 million for a photograph?
Crazy.
Which is $2 million more than that other overpriced photograph? If you can get it, awesome. But unless they can come out with information that says, this is who bought it, here's all the details, because it wasn't at auction, it was a private sale. It didn't go into information, into more details.
And the same buyer purchased two other photographs from that same photographer for $2.4 million, allegedly, and $1.1 million, giving the photographer 4 photos in the list of the 20 most expensive photos of all time.
Allegedly.
The record was previously held by, I'm probably getting this name wrong, Andreas Gursky's Rhine 2.
Yeah, but that was done at an auction
back in 2011. Yeah,
that was at
legit.
an auction. It was public.
That's not allegedly, that's fact. Moving forward,
allegedly.
A new poster ad showing up in UK doctors' offices and hospitals showcases how parents can check for eye cancer by simply using flash photography. Here's how it works. You want to see red eye, so turn any red eye reduction setting off on your camera. You take the picture with flash firing directly into your child's eye, which
That's
sounds
dangerous,
terrible.
man!
Let me go on. Now, if the red glow is missing in only one eye, or if the glow is white, that could be an indication of retinoblastoma.
Yeah.
So basically, if the red eye is white eye.
So here's what I would say about this. You don't have to put the flash right in their freaking eye to make this happen. You can stand back 15 feet and take a picture because it will pick up the red eye no matter what. Yeah. So don't.
I'm not saying go 2 inches in front.
You're not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying do not. I repeat, service advisory. Do not flash a freaking flash right in your kid's eyes. And there's something about shooting photos of toddlers with flash that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
So research that.
Yeah. I mean, use common sense, obviously. The ad is also interactive. This is my favorite part, as it encourages parents to actually snap a photo of the physical poster ad with flash enabled on their camera, like a smartphone or something.
Oh, that's cool.
The resulting photo actually shows one of the symptoms of retinoblastoma, a bright white pupil instead of red eye, like I said. They did this by using a reflective ink on the poster.
Well, that's cool.
So when you're in doctor's offices, you can actually check and see what it looks like.
Those UKianites are really smart.
And all the kids featured in the ad campaign are actual survivors, too. So that's cool, too. The Tech Report is reporting that SSDs will last 1,000 years by performing various tests on several drives that they did.
Oh, did you just say that?
What?
I'd love you for 1,000 years. I have died 1,000 times waiting for you. Time will change, lives will change, waiting for you. I'll wait you for 1,000 years. I'll love you for 1,000 more.
I was thinking, I thought you were going to sing like 1,000 miles.
How does that song go again?
Making my way down.
Oh, making my way downtown, falling fast, running past, and I'm homebound.
The piano. So good.
Fuck, I love Vanessa Carlton.
She used to go out with Stephen Jenkins of Third
Yeah,
Eye
they
Blind.
had a baby together.
No, they didn't have a baby.
I know, you've called me on that before. God, that song's so good. I thought they literally went through all these cities on a back of a truck playing. It was green screen.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Interesting. What they did now, going back to this 1,000
The other song
years-
was Christina Perri, by the way.
What they did for this whole tech report, they constantly copied 10 gig files onto the drives for several days. Now, most of the drives failed around the petabyte mark, which is 1,000 terabytes. However, 2 kept going on after the 2 petabyte mark. Now, the 2 that lived on were the Samsung 840 Pro and Kingston HyperX 3K drive. Now, the 1,000 years claim is gathered from the assumption that a typical user will maybe write a couple terabytes of data per year on their SSD, which is logical. Interesting tidbit is that most of the drives lived well beyond their specified limits, too, on the packaging. Now, the question is, will the actual physical drive itself survive that long? I mean, I'm sure it would deteriorate after a couple of years, a few centuries. It's not going to live on forever. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
I mean.
You know what I mean?
It's like Highlander. Do you know what Highlander is?
No.
Probably not like Highlander, but...
So go back and watch Highlander, the series. There's also some movies. It is one of the coolest. I like when they go back into the past and stuff. This is a movie that I'm surprised they haven't remade. So Highlander there only can be one left. But what happens is they can feel that you live forever until one of the other people that lives forever cuts your head off, and then you take their energy and you take all of their knowledge and everything that they had, and it makes you stronger. So there's Highlander. It's really cool.
I think I'm mixing it up with Blade Runner.
Well, Highlander's awesome.
Yeah, I'm mixing that up. Okay, so next story we have, this is pretty badass. Photographer named Matthew Jones photographed a motorcyclist by literally hanging on the back of the bike and following him with rollerblades. He used an older Canon 5D Mark II, which he says was his choice in case he dropped it or something like that. There's a behind-the-scenes video. Yes?
Pussy.
There's a behind-the-scenes video of the shoot, and he's not going like 10 miles an hour. He's actually going what it looks to be like 30 or 40 miles an hour. He actually oiled up the rollerblade, and he's like flying down super fast, so... This isn't really any pussy stuff going on right here.
No, that part's not pussy.
No.
But not using your best camera,
Hey, I don't blame him.
pussy. That's what insurance was for, man.
Yeah, but
I mean, the sensor in the 5D Mark II is not horrible either.
Yeah.
It's still full frame.
and he did slow
It's not
shutter
like
and all
the
that.
T3i or something.
Yeah. Now, the resulting images are pretty solid, which you can view over on the website, along with the actual behind-the-scenes video. I do like what he did with these. I think they're pretty solid. Now, Polaroid has finally announced an official release date for their Instagram look-alike social-matic camera, which we talked about forever and they teased for years. In 2 weeks, on January 21st.
How many weeks?
I'm sorry, January. God damn it. Every time. 2 weeks. By the way, I actually YouTubed that and finally saw the crazy lady and...
Trying to get to Mars.
2 weeks. I put January 21st. I want to say it actually was January 1st. Though.
That's my birthday.
So the Square camera will officially go up for sale then for $300, which is a little overpriced for my liking.
A little overpriced.
A little. A lot. The final specs for the camera, which has been updated over the few years, it's been talked about, include a 14 megapixel sensor on the main camera with a 2 megapixel front-facing camera for those selfies, 4 gigs of internal memory expandable up to 32, a 4.5-inch LCD touchscreen, which is really big, rechargeable battery, built-in GPS, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth for social sharing. It'll run an Android OS as well, so you'll be able to browse the web too and download custom apps. And the built-in printer will use Polaroid's zinc technology. There's zero
sucks.
ink stuff.
Now, I'm going to debunk this whole camera right now.
Do it.
You just named a freaking cell phone.
Yep.
Whether it's a Samsung, whatever Sutter uses, an S5, is that what they're called?
Yeah, that's the newest one.
Which you can get for almost nothing if you want to get a Samsung.
Well, it has a printer too, obviously, on it.
Right, but the zinc printer is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It looks terrible, it's horrible, and it's horrible.
So you're saying just get like the Fuji Share
You could get an Instax printer and go to town with it. You're basically buying a phone. 14 megapixel with a 2 megapixel front-facing camera for those selfies. Come on.
The thing looks pretty big too. It looks like it's literally like that big.
It defeats the
because they show
purpose.
the hand and it looks pretty freaking huge.
In a world where everybody has a cell phone and already has a camera in their pocket and barely prints now. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see, what else do we have? A photographer named Jessamine Lovell had her identity stolen, and instead of going to the police right away, she created a photo series of the perp. Her identity was stolen back in 2011, which she was at a San Francisco gallery, and her wallet was stolen. She had several large unauthorized charges on her credit card shortly after.
You mean, sounds like me every week.
It does.
Hey,
yeah.
Your card's being used in Panama. Are you in Panama? No, I'm not in Panama.
Yeah, your card, I feel like, gets taken all the time.
Internet.
Yeah, it is. Rather than replace her card, she decided to track down the thief by hiring a PI who was able to find the woman who stole her identity soon after.
Magnum.
Yeah. The woman who stole Lovell's information is named Erin Colleen Hart, bitch, who Lovell then followed around the city, photographing her from inside a car. She then put together a photo project called Dear Erin Hart and displayed it at that same very gallery that her wallet was stolen at. That's awesome. The best part, she mailed an invite to Hart herself, who is now in jail for what she did. This is a solid story. I love this.
It was good. Yeah. I read it.
I mean, the photographs aren't the best, but it's just awesome what she did. Totally 180'd on her.
I can't stand.
Hey, karma's a bitch.
You know, I was reffing hockey the other day, and the kid's like, "Oh, look, a roll of tape somebody left." He's like, I'm like, dude, just leave the roll of tape.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a $4 roll of tape. Maybe they'll come back and get it.
Yeah, but is this like a little kid?
No, this wasn't a little kid.
Oh, okay.
It was a college kid.
I was going to say, if it was a little kid and he didn't have any...
I was going to say, yeah.
It's a college kid. Okay. But I'm like, maybe somebody left it there, they forgot it, and they'll come back.
Yeah.
Don't be the one that takes the $4 roll of tape, please. I'm like, just... You would want somebody to leave it for you as well.
That's true.
I mean, it's a $4 roll of tape.
But are they going to be willing to come back for a $4 roll of tape?
Well, maybe they come back the next time. It's the principle. It is. It's just like I don't like taking anything if it's not mine.
Well, the worst is when like
including
you find
virginity.
You find like money on the ground and you're like, well, I can't take it to anybody because who's it belong to? Do you leave it on the ground? Or
that's one of those things where it's
like...
I was at the supermarket once in the self-checkout, and the person left a $20 bill down below.
That's the thing.
And I followed them out to their car. I'm like, excuse me, you left a $20 bill down below. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it was in the machine when you got it, so I'm not keeping it. I don't want your $20.
Yeah.
I didn't earn it.
No, good for you.
And that was before I made money.
Yeah.
I'm just like, even before I made money, I'm like, it's not mine.
Yeah.
It's not my money.
It's the principle behind it.
It's just that I don't... People talk like karma and things come around the corner. If you just be honest and just don't bring on the negativity. Just do the right thing.
Yep. Now, researchers at the University of Washington have created the world's fastest 2D receive-only camera, which can shoot 100
What does
billion...
2D receive-only mean?
I have no idea, but they specifically put that, so I'm going to specifically put that
Oh, you want me to explain 2D receive-only?
Wait, let me just finish what I was saying. It shoots 100 billion frames per second.
How many?
Freaking insane. 100 billion frames per second.
At what size? 1 pixel by 1 pixel?
I have no idea. But yeah, 100 billion frames per second. I mean, the footage looks like shit, but still the fact that it shoots that fast of a frame rate. Anyway, go on. Explain what 2D receive only is, Jared.
Oh, so 2D receive only is like, remember fax machines?
Oh, yeah.
And that was you could send and receive. They actually called them mojos back in the day. I learned that in Almost Famous. It was a mojo machine. It took 18 minutes per page to transfer it from New York to San Francisco.
I love it.
crazy.
It only takes 18 minutes.
18 minutes a page. Crazy. William, we have a Mojo machine. Anyway, what's this again?
2D receive only camera.
Right, because, cameras already shoot in 3D. Not. So 2D, it just means that it's flatter. Just think of Mario from Mario 1 and Mario 2 and 3. You know how he was like Paper Mario?
Oh, yeah.
He's not 3D, he's 2D, so it's receive only. So it only likes to receive. It doesn't actually reciprocate, which is the golden rule that if you are going to receive, you have to give back. That is the rule that was taught to me, the golden rule. If you receive, you better reciprocate. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, shame on you.
Watch, what's that movie called with Paul Rudd? I Love You, Man, where he talks about that speech, and he's like, you got to give back.
Right. So you have that. And that's 2D reciprocal. Get ahead. I don't like this story. But that's what I have to say.
So let's see. The frame rate is achieved by the technological process called compressed ultrafast photography.
Oh, shit. Compressed ultrafast photography is something totally new. It's like a Litro, but not a Litro. So compressed means it's shrunk down. It's small. It's like, think of JPEG, but 10 times smaller.
JPEG.
No, it's smaller than a JPEG. It's smaller than a basic JPEG because it's highly compressed to the 3rd degree, not the 2nd or the 1st. It has a 2 over it. So what's this called again?
The compressed ultra-fast photography.
Oh, yeah. So not only does it compress it, but it shoots it ultra fast. That's how you can achieve 100 billion frames a second in 2D compressed receive only.
This allows the scientists to actually see laser light moving.
Which was awesome, by the way.
Oh my God. Current receive-only cameras can capture 10 million frames per second due to storage and bandwidth limitations. Now, the technology is currently planned to be used in biomedicine. You can see video of some sample footage, like we just said, the footage of the laser light moving literally through air and hitting like the wall or something.
FroKnowsPhoto.com/RAWtalk-113.
And we got one more story for Photo News. TGI Fridays is inspiring people to come together this Christmas. That was air quotes for you people listening. By flying drones.
What do you mean, you people?
Shut up. By flying drones carrying mistletoes in their
racism.
restaurants. They're flying drones with freaking mistletoes on them in the restaurants. Couples who kiss beneath the drone would receive gift certificates. Now, it already backfired on them when a photographer who was on assignment for Courier Life's Brooklyn Daily was hit with one of the drones, cutting her nose and neck. The incident happened at the New York...
Don't cut your nose despite your face, all right?
The incident happened at the New York City TGI Fridays, or one of them, where the pilot was attempting to land the drone on the photographer's hand for some reason, without prop guards, too, I should say. The photographer flinched, ending in the drone going out of control and pretty much cutting the nose, throat, all that stuff. Terrible idea, in my opinion. I mean, one, it's clearly dangerous, even with the prop guards, and two, it'll freaking, like, when it was the actual video they show, it's blowing, like, everywhere. So I can't imagine eating like a salad and just like it flying everywhere.
It may be blowing everywhere, but did it reciprocate?
It didn't reciprocate.
So this
is
a
receive-only drone
idea you could ever think about. Stop in drone news. It's going to take a couple assholes already that are ruining it for the people that use it properly. Like the time when I got the Phantom and I went out and flew it the first time with nobody in the park. It was just me and a couple dogs running around, but that was it. I went back another day, and there were like 100 people in the park. I didn't fly it because I didn't trust myself flying it out there. Even if I did trust myself, there's still 100 people out there that could get hurt if something goes wrong. Mm-hmm. You got to use common freaking sense, people. I guess TGI. I haven't eaten at a Fridays in a long time.
I've eaten there not that long ago, but I mean, I still enjoy the burgers. But
the breadsticks were good.
Yeah, I don't love it, but of all drones, flying a DJI, which is pretty heavy, not the heaviest, but it's heavier and bigger, there's so much smaller drones in the market that you could do.
You could just
they're not as windy and, what if it just fell out of the sky, of the roof?
And cut somebody's face.
And cut someone's face.
That's what you have to say.
There you go. Yeah, so photo news, that's it for this week.
All right.
Lots of photo news.
We did photo news. We talked about what we're going to talk about. Now, coming up right now, we're going to get into talking to David Bergman.
Hopefully.
No, he'll be here. I got an email. The PR guy's bringing him.
Oh, nice.
After that, we're going to get into Gear of the Week and Wheel of Fro. But like I said, let's do the lead into David Bergman because we alluded to this earlier. Mm-hmm. Bon Jovi's photographer. Toured with him. I have the notes right here. He did 13 SI covers 11 Super Bowls, a bunch of World Series. He's photographed Obama at his inauguration, the first one, Olympics and much more. 200 shows in 30 countries with Bon Jovi on tour. I want to know how you don't get bored on the road first and foremost, shooting the same thing 200 shows. I know that I get bored after 6.
I mean, you get bored pretty easy with everything, though, I feel like.
But wouldn't you get 200 shows is a lot?
That is a lot, but if it was my job, I wouldn't mind it.
This is probably them calling me right meow. So can you answer that? Step away and answer that for me, please. So we're going to do the lead in. They're probably on the phone right now to get here. And I'm looking forward to this interview because this guy is extremely, extremely popular. Not popular, but has shot so many different things. Like I already said, his work is tremendous. His background is tremendous. And what he's done is tremendous. So let's get into this interview with David Bergman and talk about all of his photos and this new book. All right, so here we are. We're with David Bergman. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Would you have to come down from New York?
I did, yeah. I just came down from the city, but this is worth coming to. It's a nice place you got here.
This is what they call New York style living, just not in New York.
See, here it's New York style.
Loft living.
Where I live, it's New York.
Yeah, do you know what this would be in New York?
This would be
$4 million?
$8,000 a month. Yeah,
it would be insane.
Yeah, in a bad neighborhood.
I'll take it right here and be happy all day.
Fair enough.
Doing that. So we're here to talk about a ton of different things. I've already alluded. I've done an intro to you already. And I talked about not only being Bon Jovi's tour photographer, but 13 SI covers, 11 Super Bowls that you've covered, World Series, Presidents, Olympics,
blah, 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 blah,
you know, and a lot of stuff. And I'm just here to dive into your brain. We're going to talk about the book. Why don't we just start before the book? Why don't we talk about the tour? You shot 200 shows.
I did.
30 different countries.
Yeah.
How did you not get bored in doing 200 shows?
You know what? Honestly, the coolest part is I actually enjoy that process of shooting similar events over and over because it does force you, as you know, it forces you to kind of come up with something different every night. So, I mean, yeah, there's some excitement in doing something new every night, but at the same time, this really forced me to think outside the box and come up with something different, not rely on something I did yesterday and make a better picture tonight. Because also I know John's going to see the pictures, the fans are going to see the pictures, and I don't want to show him the same thing every night.
Right. And I know this, the longest tour I've done is 6 weeks with Perry Farrell, and it was great because it allows you, like you just said, you can try different things each night. So if you want to just focus on using an 85 or something, 1.4
exactly.
to go for a certain thing, you can. But I also noticed you do a lot of remote setups.
Yep.
What is your feeling? I'm one of these, I don't crop my work personally.
Okay.
That was an old sports thing. I'd never cropped any of my sports photos.
Did you shoot chromes? I mean, is that where that comes from?
No, I didn't shoot chromes. I was a little past the chrome time, but I started with my N90S, which you saw on the door.
Right.
Went to the F5 after that. But even when I shot hockey, it was, to me, I thought the point was to fill the frame. I looked at Sports Illustrated and I saw these pictures of tight shots that filled the frame, and I'm like, I need to do that.
You know what? Back in those days, they probably were full frame because they were shooting slides mostly. So it was a lot harder to crop back then. Image quality would really drop off. Now you can get away with it a little bit more.
Now you can. Are you still Nikon?
Yeah. Yep.
So you got all those, but with the remotes, obviously you do them, so you like using them.
Sure.
You don't feel any kind of like that's not my picture. All I did was push a button. I set it and I captured
not at all. Exactly the opposite. I mean, first of all, with the remotes, it was me taking my sports photography and moving it into the concert realm. And even a band like Bon Jovi, surprisingly, they never really had done that before. And it took me a little while to talk them into letting me put up the first one because, the stage is a sacred place, and obviously. So I put up one the first night and made a couple of good pictures. And actually, there's one that's in the book from that first remote, and I made a big print. And I brought it in the next day, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
See, that's the thing with photography. It's like, screw it, we'll just show it to you.
You got to show it,
and then
exactly.
You see. And talking about prints, that's one of the things that's dead for a lot of people. But prints, like your book, is huge, and that's fantastic. Most people don't print anything, but huge prints are where it's at.
Well, so one of the ways I really got in with them and with other bands, I have this other business model. It's tourphotographer.com, and the whole point is to sell prints from shows because I do think digital images now, they come and go so fast, and we get desensitized to them, and you can look at 1,000 frames in a Facebook album and never remember one of them. But you make one nice 11x14, sign it and date it and put it up on the wall, and you'll remember it forever. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm kind of on this quest to bring respect back to tour photography, and because it has lost some of its luster over the years.
Well, when you have everybody showing up with an iPhone.
Well, exactly.
Or the lack of access.
Sure.
Because you have your 3 songs, and I'm assuming you didn't have a 3-song rule out with Bon Jovi.
Nope, not anymore.
You could go anywhere.
Yeah. So that, but hopefully I'm helping to try to change that, right? And by showing that there is value and there's power in these images and giving this kind of access, I hope I'm helping all photographers.
Well, the thing that hurts certain photographers is you get the ones that try to steal the access or try to do things that are shady instead of getting in with the artist. What was the process of getting in with Bon Jovi?
I've always said I only want to photograph people who want me there, right? So I don't do that kind of hide in the bushes thing. Getting in with them, it basically came down to trying to get meetings with lots of different bands. I had toured with other bands leading up to that over the course of the last 10 years. And I wanted a big arena stadium tour. And I reached out to everybody as best I could. I tried to use as many contacts as I could. And eventually I got a meeting. It took literally years. And I got a meeting. And I, oddly enough, the first thing that really got them interested wasn't so much the traditional tour photography, but this other Gigapan system that I had utilized that started with Obama's inauguration. And that was a bit more interesting to them because traditional tour photos, they were like,
they've seen it all.
They've seen it all. We've been photographed by everybody. It's no big deal. So we were talking sports. We were talking Obama's inauguration. And I had done this picture at President Obama's inauguration that I'm sure you're going to get into and it was the super high-res panoramic called a Gigapan.
Yep.
And it went crazy viral, got 20 million views. John Bon Jovi knew the photo. He was there at the event. He knew the image. He knew my sports work. And that really helped ingratiate me with them. And that night, I was actually doing a Gigapan at their show right here in Philly. Very first show I ever did with them was right here.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So so I did it that night. I did a Gigapan. And then the next night I came back. They were playing 2 nights. This was February or March 2010. I think it was March 2010. And the next night I came back and I showed it to them on the computer, of course, but I also made a print, a giant 60-inch, 80-inch print, and the jaws just hit the floor.
Yeah.
And that's really what they said, okay, let's do it again tonight. And then they booked me for 5 more shows, and then in between doing the Gigapans, I would shoot some regular photos here and there, and then eventually we got to the point where we dropped the Gigapan and just had me out.
Well, that's obviously the one way to get in.
Yeah.
And it's not just to get in, it's that you have quality work to speak.
Oh, thank you.
You let the work speak for itself. So on to the Obama thing, and we'll come back to the Bon Jovi stuff.
Sure.
But, so that was done with, was that a point and shoot? A G9?
G10, yeah.
G10 at the time?
So it's funny, at that time, what I did was I was able to get a credential to the inauguration. Obviously it was
through what?
Through Corbis.
Okay.
Right? So my stock is represented through them. And I think they asked for 10 credentials. They got 2. And one went to their DC guy, and then they called me and said, we want you to be number 2. Okay, cool, So I was just going to go down and shoot my regular photos. But one of the things I've tried to do throughout my career, and I'm sure you do this too, it's like, okay, why am I here? What am I going to do that's different than anybody else? There's no reason for me to stand next to 300 other photographers, 500, and shoot the same thing.
Right.
There's no purpose. So I also knew I wasn't going to have the prime position, right? The Washington Post, the Washington AP, those guys are going to be in that spot. They want the picture of their hand on the Bible and the hand in the air, and that's the picture everybody wants. So I wasn't going to have that. I was going to be on the other side with his back to me when he takes the oath. So I just figured, okay, what else can I do? The other part of that story, besides the fact that it was the first African-American president, is there are going to be 2 million people here. 2 million. I can't think of any event I've covered where there are 2 million people in one spot.
Yeah.
So I started researching different ways to do, panoramics or high-res pictures or something, and I came across this system called the Gigapan, and it was actually developed by NASA for the Mars rover program. Those images of the surface of Mars that are stitched together.
Yep.
Those scientists that came up with that technology then turned it into a commercial product and came up with this
and
Gigapan
now they're in
system.
trouble.
Are they?
I don't even think they.
Who?
I've been hearing rumors that
they're still around. I think they sold off the hardware portion, I believe, but they're still around, and obviously they love me, so it's.
You have the big one now?
Well, so at the time, all they had was the little one that took the point and shoot, and if you remember, you put a point and shoot in it, and it literally had a plastic finger that pushed down on the button.
Oh wow!
That's the only way you could trigger it. So I just set it up on a whim. Right, I was shooting my quote real photos and set this thing up off to the side and just let it do its thing, all automatic. Now I shoot everything manual, but back then I just let it go. And transmitted all my photos, worked the rest of the day, and then at the end of the night, I was like, I wonder if it made a picture. And sure enough, I laid it out in the stitching software, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let it stitch overnight. The next day, couldn't even upload it from a hotel. This was, too many years ago to be able
2008.
I know, it was a long time ago. And in technology years. And so drove home, uploaded it from home, posted one blog post and one Facebook post, and within a couple of days had 1 million hits. So it obviously touched on something. And then so since then I've taken that technology to my other clients, and I've done it at Olympics and Super Bowls and those kinds of things with the big unit now.
Yeah.
And I shoot every frame manually. I look through it. I focus, make sure expose, check everything manually.
It is not easy.
It is not easy. I would say it's easy to do a simple one, but it's not going to be very good. Right?
I have one over there.
Yeah.
They sent me one, and I went and shot Independence Hall as a test. And it works well. I got the guy on the phone, and he's sitting there. He's like, the nodal point needs to be here. I'm like, dude,
right.
You got to understand. I'm going to guesstimate where it's going to go, and that's going to be
That's where it
but
is.
Don't talk to me at nodal point. I'm like, I don't know what that. You lost me at nodal point.
Yeah. You lost me at nodal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, but it gives you a way to differentiate yourself.
Well, so I think most photography is 50% creative and 50% technical, right? The Gigapan is about 90% technical and 10% creative. So that creative part, I think, helps separate hopefully what I do from maybe somebody just taking it out of the box.
Yeah.
But 90% of it is really a different part of the brain that not all photographers, find to be simple.
Has that photo gotten you a lot of jobs?
Well, it indirectly led to Bon Jovi, right? So I don't know if I hadn't done that photo, I don't know if I'd have this book now. So certainly it's helped. And then I've had other clients do it. NBC, I've done for Tishman Speyer at the Rockefeller Center tree lighting. I've done it for a few commercial clients. So I look at it as another tool in my toolbox, and it's something my whole career isn't based on that, but it's certainly something I can offer when it comes up.
I have a question down here about the evolution of technology. As technology changes, on your site you have a whole section of video.
Yeah.
Are you venturing into the video world now?
Yeah. So I look at that the same way. It's another tool that I have. I haven't gone 100% into video. I still really prefer the power of a still image, but it's something that more and more clients want. So I've done some music videos. I've done some other, motion projects. So it's something I want to show that I can do and I can offer to my clients. When I have a client who really wants a huge production, then I hire a bunch of other people and we do it all together. But certainly I think, being able to do a little bit of everything these days is only helpful.
Yeah. Playing onto that question as well, is the landscape of photography keeps changing. Sure. We have, I saw Vincent Laforet wrote something yesterday on A Photo Editor about everybody has a camera and that whole thing again. Like, are we devaluing photographers, and does their work become not worth anything because so many people are out there taking photos? And of course, he's like, the thing it comes down to is somebody knows what they're doing, quality, and I say this to my readers all the time, quality work trumps everything. Sure. Quality work stands out, and just because you have an iPhone and you can shoot and you can do this doesn't mean you're out there getting these type of images. Sure. Where do you stand on the whole thing? Everybody's got a camera. I think that what I would call the low-hanging fruit, like the jobs that we used to do years ago that were relatively simple jobs, some of the corporate headshots and some of the more simple documentary jobs, I think those gigs have gone away because now somebody in the ad agency or the friend of a friend has a good enough camera and the images are going to be good enough that they can do it. So I think that's hurt the industry a little bit. But at the same time, the high-end jobs aren't going anywhere, right? You still need to hire a professional with a vision and an eye and that knows what they're doing. And, with bands, look, so many bands just have, one of their people who has a camera just snap a couple frames, and there's value in that. I'm not trying to put that down, but to really bring in a professional who can craft an image and really foreshadow things before they happen and do all those things that we do as professionals, I think there's incredible value there. And the right clients still get it. And that's why you end up on the road with Bon Jovi.
Yeah,
because you're able to capture those type of images. Yeah. I mean, it's harder. I mean, it's not that hard. I don't want to say that it's harder because, yes, there's more people taking photos. It just means that there's more crappier photos in the world to allow your photos to stand out better.
Sure. Well, and the other part is that I always say there are more uses for visual information now than ever before, right? You get in an elevator and there's a screen with photos or video. 30 years ago, it was magazines and newspapers and ads, and that was it, right? Now there's pictures everywhere. Everywhere you go, there are pictures and video. So people have to produce that. So I think there's work out there. It's just, yes, supply and demand is a little bit out of whack, but there's still demand.
So talk about the way you came up through college. I saw there were 2 colleges you went to.
Yeah, so I was a musician first. I played drums, and I was a band geek in high school, and was in the drum line and the jazz band and all that stuff. And then I went to the Berklee College of Music in Boston, and I was going to be a producer. That's really where I was headed, and I thought for sure that was it. And then for a multitude of reasons, I transferred back home to Miami, the University of Miami, and I literally stumbled into the school paper one day. Not literally, but I stumbled into the school paper, and the photo editor gave me a roll of film and said, go shoot this over the weekend and come back on Tuesday at 2:00 and I'll show you how to process. If there's anything good, we'll give you an assignment. Okay, cool. So I followed up, and sure enough, I guess he saw something he liked, and I began shooting for the paper. So I became the assistant photo editor, the photo editor when he graduated, and then the editor-in-chief of the yearbook, and on and on. So that's really where it all kind of started for me. And I again changed over to photojournalism from music, and then after college was freelancing a couple of years in Miami, the UPI first, and then AP. I was a stringer covering everyday news and anything like that, and then got my first big gig, which was Miami Herald. I was a staff photographer there. 1993, I believe, is when I was hired, 93 or 94, and I was there till 2001, and I covered a little bit of everything, as you do with newspapers, but I kind of was the sports guy. That was really my focus, and I covered Heat, Hurricanes, Panthers, Dolphins, all that kind of stuff.
So really terrible teams at that time.
Yeah, actually,
if I recall.
Yeah. Some of them were good. The Dolphins always made the playoffs and then lost. But
with the Marlins, was it?
The Marlins won the World Series in '97. The Panthers went to the Stanley Cup Finals in '96.
Well, we don't talk about the Panthers, a team built by, at the time, Bobby Clark built that team.
Yes, that's true.
He left us, and then you had Mellenby and the whole throwing the freaking...
The Rats.
Oh, the Rats. Screw the Rats.
Oh, it was photographically. It was so much fun. It was such a great year.
Yeah.
But we had, that year I actually assisted on a shoot where we had the cup, the Stanley Cup, on the beach, because it's so blasphemous to have the cup in a hot weather place. So we had it on the beach, and I actually have a picture of myself in a Hawaiian shirt with my long hair, holding the real cup.
Which is sacrilege. You're not supposed to lift it.
I
Only
did.
winners.
I picked it up over my head on the beach. Yeah, sorry about that.
I would want to do the same thing.
You have to.
You have to lift the cup.
If you ask the guy, can I pick the cup up, and he says yes, you have to.
Oh, he did? It was the guy, right?
Oh, yeah, the guy.
The guy.
The guy.
There's a guy that his job, for anybody out there to know, his job for like $42,000 a year is to travel with the cup everywhere it goes.
Yep. And he was there, sure enough. Yep.
No, that's cool.
So he let me do it. So what am I going to do? Say,
how do you venture into the Sports Illustrated world?
So then over that time, I mean, when you cover these kinds of events, I was covering Super Bowls and World Series and Olympics. You just meet people, right? It's a small industry, the sports photo industry. So I knew the SI guys, a lot of them, and eventually 2001 decided to go freelance and move to New York City. So just picked up, gave my 2-week notice and moved up here. And I called SI and said, hey, can I come in and chat? And they said, sure, no problem. Steve Fine, the old director of photography, great guy, had me come in, and we met. And actually, kind of funny story, what happened was I had been an early adopter in digital. So I'd been shooting digital since it was really bad. And Sports Illustrated was still shooting Chrome. And I came in, and they said, oh, we're thinking about doing some digital, and can you help us? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. This is SI. So what happened was they had me basically train their staff photographers in the ways of digital. I just came in at just the right time with the right skill set, and I would shoot for them over the weekend, and then during the week I would travel all around the country going to the houses of these legendary SI staff photographers, and I'm teaching them. Some of them had never touched a computer before, but most of them had, but hadn't used digital. So I was teaching them how to deal with the cameras and how to deal with the issues and download and all that stuff.
The early issues were that they would see these pictures after the fact and be like, they don't look good. They don't look they don't look sharp, and they look punchy. Because what they forget, well, when they shot Chrome, that's one thing. What you get is what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
But when it came to, I remember this in the labs of printing people's wedding photos when I was out of college working in a print lab.
Right.
You would see how bad their stuff was, and you had to correct it. Yeah. And then they never know that their stuff is terrible because they don't look at their negatives. Sure. And I think part of the early issues with early digital, and the old timers switching over or attempting to, they're like, well, the images don't look good right out of the camera.
Yeah.
And they forgot that somebody was processing your shitty pictures to begin with.
Yeah.
And now you need to do that.
But even if they were decent quality, there were so many problems early on. Obviously, it was brand new technology. I mean, I remember the skin tones were horrible. The flash didn't work. There were all kinds of issues. But, you learn to deal with it. I knew that I could see that was where it was going. So I'd always rather be in front of the technology than playing catch up.
Which is extremely important today, and I talk about this all the time, is the video aspect.
Yeah.
People, yes, it's one thing to go and do a portrait for somebody, but when they say, hey, do you make an EPK, or can you make an EPK for our website? And there you go. Now you just added another $2,500 to your bill because you have the ability to shoot video. You're at the forefront of the technology.
And in general, a video producer, quote unquote, gets paid a lot more than a still photographer in most cases. So,
and if you're already there, you're already in the door, you already used your photography to branch off into something else. We've seen it happen with a lot of photographers. You look at Danny Clinch, and he does that. He's moved and ventured into video. Neil Leifer, hey, you have his number?
Good friend of mine. Yeah, that's what I do.
I've been because I called him when I was like 19. He had his phone number on his website. I called him, and he called me back.
Wow.
And he's like, what's up? And I just wanted to talk. I'm like, I love your work. I'm not looking for anything. He's like, I don't know that I can help. I'm like, I'm not looking for you to make any connect. I just wanted to talk and show you some of my stuff and hear what you had to say.
He's one of those guys. It's just so cool to talk. We will go to dinner every once in a while, and he'll just tell a story randomly about something that happened, and you're like, holy cow, that's amazing.
I'm gonna ask. If this goes well, can you put in a good word? Because I've called. Somebody else represents his stuff now, and they don't want anything to do with this.
Really, I can put in a good word. Absolutely.
Because
you'd probably have to go to him, but
I would go to him. We travel.
I think we can manage.
We
that.
travel.
All right.
We go wherever we need to go. Except I wanted you to come in. Thought it would be good to have you in here.
I wanted to see the place.
I have all his books on the shelf.
I like what you've done with the place. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love his stuff. But back to your stuff. Was he? Speaking of older type photographers, was his work something
He's a good
you emulated?
example. Well, actually, he's about technology. So he was doing a piece for Sports Illustrated maybe around that time, mid 2000s, 2005 or so, 2006. This is how I became close with him, because he was going to shoot something from the magazine. The magazine said, no, it has to be digital. And he had never shot it. So they said, Bergman will help you out. So they sent me over. I spent the next pretty much year working on and off with him. He was traveling around doing a book. It was a piece for SI, and then they turned it into a book.
Which book?
He had to shoot it on all digital. It was the one where he went back and revisited all of his old... all of the places of some of his famous photos.
I don't have that book.
So I can't remember the title, but I'll see if I can find it.
I'll look it up because I'll order it today.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, he flew in the Rose Bowl. He did, his Super Bowl I picture of the coin toss.
Yeah.
So, and it's literally like the two players and like two refs, and that's it. Now he did it at Super Bowl whatever, and there's like 80 people on the field with boom mics and all this kind of stuff, and it's neat to see the
access that he had then. Like I remember watching. Either I read it somewhere in his book. What's your favorite photo of his, if you had to pick one?
I mean, everyone knows sort of Ollie Liston, right? But, But he's got another Ollie picture from overhead.
That's the one. That's my favorite.
Yeah. It's
straight down.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's my ultimate favorite photo as well.
And it's a remote, right?
Yeah, it's a remote Hasselblad in 1960 something.
Right. Exactly.
That is one of the best photos that I've seen. If I was to buy one of his,
it's perfectly symmetrical, and one guy on the ground and one guy standing, and
going like this, and he's like, I'm in the photo, and all of the other reporters are in the photo. That is one of those photos that is just unbelievable.
Sure.
Were there other photographers you looked up to in the world?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the early sports guys, the Bill Frakes and the Heinz Klutmeyers and those guys, I always looked at their stuff. And then, modern guys, Danny Clinch, and I mean, he's still doing it at a really high level. So, I watch all that stuff.
Yeah. I'd love to get him in. So where else am I trying? Cool you talk about the technology. We've got RAW, I shoot RAW. Mm-hmm. Are you shooting all this stuff in RAW?
Absolutely.
All right, good.
I've been a proponent of RAW, maybe even earlier than
Probably.
you were. Yeah, because in the early digital days, the first round of digital, it was just a TIFF file, and it was technically a RAW file, but it wasn't quite, right? That's all we had. And there was a short period of time there where, unfortunately, a lot of those images, they were only JPEGs, and that was it. But as soon as RAW became an issue, I used to fight with photographers about this. They would say, especially the newspaper guys, because images come and go so fast. And they say, oh, we don't have the card space or the hard drive space, or we can't deal with the processing. And I would say, look, just shoot RAW plus JPEG. If it makes you feel better, give the JPEGs to the client. Just keep the RAW files for yourself. You're going to have an image one day that you're going to wish you had the RAW file for. And I mean, these days it's a no-brainer because card space is not a problem. And I mean, there's no reason today. Back then, I could see an argument, but...
Well, it's nice to hear from a sports shooter, quote unquote, because you talk to these sports shooters and like, oh my God, I'm shooting so many. Well, maybe one, you're shooting too many pictures. You're just motor driving through your 14 frames a second with 1DXs, and you need to just go back and slow down.
I shoot a lot of frames, so I'm not going to give people a hard time about that. Yeah, I'm a pretty heavy shooter.
Why? Just,
it's
your thing?
It comes from sports, right? So when you're shooting sports, you got a ball in the air coming down.
Yeah.
You wait for one frame, you're never going to nail it, right? So you got to just nail that whole sequence. You've got a running back coming at you and another player coming towards him. You don't know what's going to happen there.
Or when the ref's going to get in the way in that third frame.
Exactly. But when they collide, the helmet might come off, the ball might come out. If you wait until the ball pops out and then hit the button, you've missed it.
You've already missed it.
So that's a habit that I got into really early on. And honestly, I rarely had to buy my own film because I was at the newspaper. And then I remember when I first started shooting for SI, and they would occasionally have me shoot some film. And I think the first film assignment I shot for them was a football game. And I was trying to be conservative. I didn't want to go crazy. And I think I shot 20 rolls of film. And they told me afterward, the editor said, I didn't think you were going to have a very good shoot because he didn't shoot much. I was like, 20 rolls?
20 rolls.
Okay. So then I was like, all right, be careful what you wish for. And I would shoot 30, 40, 50 rolls of film easy at a game.
What was your first cover?
My first cover was Craig Krenzel, Ohio State. It was a college football preview. I think it was 2003 or so. Probably around there. On film, interestingly enough. But I mean, I almost had one before that. It was one of those stories where they called me and said, congratulations. Like all the editors were behind me. They were like, you got your first cover. Congratulations. And then later that day, it got changed. And one of the other editors who always was a bit of a wise ass, I called him about something else. Nobody told me. I called him about something else. He said, oh, I heard you almost got the cover this week. And I was like, yeah, that's funny. Like I thought he was just busting me. And, he's like, no, seriously. And I go, transfer me to the other guy. And they were like, oh, we're so sorry. We had 4 pictures of the same guy and we thought they were all yours and only 3 of them were yours.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, no. But then about 6 months later, I finally got one.
What's it feel like? I mean, is that the ultimate?
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, I'll never forget the Super Bowl when Drew Brees won, the Saints won. And I had kind of a lousy game. The Super Bowl, Sports Illustrated, we're really pre-assigned positions because there's so many of us. There's no way we can all be wandering up and down the sideline. So I was in my spot the whole game, and really nothing came my way. I remember late in the game, it was the Colts, right? So Peyton Manning is driving. They're down by 6 or 5, and they're driving, and they're coming towards me, and I'm like, this is going to be it. Peyton's going to throw the game-winning touchdown. It's going to be right in my corner.
It's going to be that Al Tillman shot.
The Al Tillman shot, exactly. So it's going to be great. And then, boom, he throws a pick, and the guy runs 100 yards the other direction and straight away from me. So I was like, that's it. I got nothing. It was just a horrible game. I went home and cried myself to sleep. So the next day, Steve Fine, director of photography, sends me an email. Hey, congratulations. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he says, oh yeah, welcome to the club is what he said. And I was like, what are you talking about? He says, oh, you got the cover. I'm like, how is that even possible? Like I had absolutely nothing. And he sent it to me and it was after the game, the ceremony, and it was Drew Brees when he picked up his kid and the confetti's coming down. And it was a really sweet moment. I shot it with a 600 and it was cropped vertically from a horizontal. It was like a super loose frame. Speaking of no cropping, right? And, But that was kind of a really special moment. It was in Miami, which is my hometown, and I was at my mom's place, and so we got to celebrate, and that was kind of nice.
That's cool. So the world is changing with Sports Illustrated.
Sure.
What's up with them with photographers right now?
I don't really know. I honestly, since I've been on the road with these guys, I haven't done as much work for them. I did a Jets game earlier this month or last month. They've got a new director of photography, great guy, Brad Smith, used to be at the New York Times. He and I go way back, so I know him. They're throwing me things here and there, but honestly, I've been kind of onto so many other things. I'm not as involved with them on a day-to-day basis as I used to be. I mean, like everybody, they spend less money than they used to. That's just the nature of the business. Sure. So I think that they still have some staff guys, so they use those guys when they can, and then the rest of it, those of us pick up.
All right, let's come back around to the book.
Yeah.
So my favorite shots when you go back to like the Jim Marshalls of the world, anybody that's been on a private jet. to get private jet photos. I mean, what is, you have that.
Yeah.
I mean, how awesome is that?
So that's another one of those moments I'll never forget, because I was doing more and more work with them, and I was in the dressing room more and doing those kinds of pictures. Just, that's kind of what I do. You push slowly and you push and you push, and eventually you're there. But I was traveling with the crew on the tour buses, like everybody else. We have about 180 to 100 crew members.
Which bunk was yours?
I was always the last guy on, and so I always got the worst bunk.
You got the junk bunk?
Any tour I've ever done, well, yeah, the junk bunks, are taken, but I'm always like in the back on the bottom. That's always the place where I'm by the engine. That's always where I am.
Yep.
The photographer always gets thrown in the back, but. I was doing so much of the behind the scenes stuff that John Bon Jovi kind of walked by me one day and said, "Oh, maybe you should be traveling with us," and he just kept walking. And I was like, like, what did he just say? And the tour manager was standing next to me and he was like, all right, he said it. So literally the next day, like my bag tags got changed and my itinerary got changed, and I moved to start traveling with the band. There were only 12 people on that plane every day. And the next day I started traveling with them. So that was pretty surreal. I had always kind of said to my friends privately, I would say, one day I'm going to be traveling around the world with a rock band on a private jet. And they'd go, yeah, whatever.
Almost famous.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then the next day I get on the plane and I kind of looked around for a second like, all right.
And then you got to work.
Doing it. And then you get right back to work.
Because what I love about the book is there's a nice cross-section of behind-the-scenes stuff. I wish there was more, if I'm going to be honest with you. I would assume that you didn't get to pick all the photos that went in here, or did you?
I did. I mean, it's collaborative, right? So I do the initial edit, and then there's my publisher and agent, and then, of course, it all goes through John at the end of the day. So, we wanted a nice mix of images.
Because I love the behind the scenes stuff. I bet there's more, and I'd love... See, that's the stuff, because anybody, not going to say anybody can shoot a live shot, but you've got some very unique shots from the remote cameras getting at the what stadium?
Yeah, MetLife.
MetLife. I mean, stuff like that nobody gets unless you have the access. And seeing what F-Stoppers did that documentary on you was fantastic.
Yeah.
They did a great job with that.
Did.
I mean, the photos in here are great. Traveling the world, the behind-the-scenes stuff, the big printing. I love big printing in a book.
Yeah, you got to go big.
There's no reason to not go big. And then this stuff is what you don't get to see.
Yeah.
And that's why I loved this book. And I bought it. You can buy it at is it bonjovi.com?
Yep, bonjovi.com/work.
/work, because the name of the book is Work. You can be prepared for the shipping. Like I said, we talked about that. Well, I talked about that. I was prepared for the shipping. Right now it's $22. Hopefully they can get that changed. But even this book for under $100 is well worth it because of the size and the amount. What's it, 220 pages?
210.
210 pages of full print photos. It's awesome. Yeah, you just can't beat that.
We were selling during the tour. We were selling 5x7s for $10, right? And various sizes, but 5x7. So for $60, even for $80 with shipping, that's 8 5x7s. So here it's 210 pages of giant photos.
I haven't taken you into my office yet, but wait till you see the couch in there.
Should I be nervous?
No, I don't have a casting couch, but what I have a whole bookshelf.
Oh, nice.
And I have right now I have 20 some books that I've bought since we've made from the book show, because I make a video about each book so that people can see what they can buy.
Oh, cool.
Because there's different options to be inspired by. It's all about being inspired by this stuff, and that's what's in here. I can't wait to show you what's over there. So while on tour,
step into my office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a whole section in the book on John shooting.
Yeah.
Was that your doing?
So over the course of the tour, I mean, we're sitting together so many times on the plane, and we're together, and he's obviously watching what I'm doing. He's a creative guy, right? He's always had an interest in photography, but he knew nothing about the technical side, the apertures and shutter speeds and ISOs. So he started asking questions. And he wound up bringing his camera out on the road, and we would occasionally go out and do photo lessons. I'd occasionally do photo workshops. And so we'd go out. He's my highest profile photo student.
Howard Stern wasn't yours?
No, I didn't do Howard.
Damn.
But he and John are pretty good friends. But we would go out in Vienna. He'd call me in the morning and say, hey, let's go out and shoot. Okay. So the two of us would go wander through a park in Vienna. He'd put on a hat, and we'd wander around. And, I'd have him shoot, and we'd analyze and do the whole thing. So that was a lot of fun. So when it came time to put together the book, he gives me a hard time because he's got such a small section and the rest of it's all mine. But we decided to really put in a section of images that he took. There's some vacation photos. The biggest thing is pictures of his family, which he never, he keeps them.
He won't let them.
Yeah, he keeps them out of the public eye because that's not band business, right?
I spoke a long time ago when he bought the Soul. He was on the field and his family was down there, and a couple of photographers were taking pictures, right. And he came up right after that and he's like, I'm going to ask you personally, everybody. He's like, we've never given out any of these photos. Like nobody's ever seen them, so please don't do that. Delete them or just please don't ever put them out.
I'm not surprised to hear that. Yeah.
But when somebody directly asks you that, you have to respect it, or you're going to just never.
There's two ways to do that, right? There's stop doing, yelling at photographers, or there's huddling the family away, or doing what he did, which was the classy thing to do.
Which was great.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I've been with his family on vacations. I've taken plenty of pictures of them, all private stuff. But he wanted to, show some of his work, and he did put out pictures of his kids and his wife, and that he took on vacation. They're really cute images. So, he wanted to show a little bit of his photography in there too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Do you? What's next? Where are you going?
What's next? That's a good question. I've got a couple of gigs, a couple of one-offs. I'm doing. I'm going to Budapest for the European Women's Handball Championship next week.
Handball is that team
handball?
Oh my god,
so awesome.
Team handball is soccer, basketball, and hockey on steroids.
Yeah.
And look, Google this. Go on YouTube and watch team handball.
It's awesome. Yeah, I did it earlier this year, women and men, and it's amazing.
That can't be easy to shoot.
It is a little tricky. Once you got to get used to the flow of the game, like hockey. First time I shot hockey, you have to really get used to it. The flow. It is fun to shoot, but it's very similar mindset. You have to kind of anticipate where it's going and do that. So I got that. I've done, earlier this year, I shot the 2015 Bellican Beer swimsuit calendar in Belize. That was a tough gig. But they have this Bellican calendar they do every year. And they brought me down to do the 2015. So that had just come out, and they've already hired me to do the 2016. So I'll be back in, I think, February. We're doing that. So I got a couple things like that. My biggest thing right now is I want to get on another tour. It may be a couple of years till Bon Jovi does anything again, touring wise. I don't know of anything immediately coming up. So, I'm sending the book out. I'm talking to as many people as I can, and hopefully I can take this business model, both the print selling and the book.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
And bring it to other bands.
Who do you want to go to?
Oh boy, I mean, there's so many. But honestly,
it's not that many big tours left.
It's true. I mean, U2 would be great. Nickelback's coming up. There's some big tours. Hey,
wait. Here we go. Wait. Check it out. Hi. I'm David Bergman, and Chad Kroger's like, and you go to Chad Kroger. Look at my photographs. Sorry.
No problem.
But that means you're one right now, currently close to Avril Lavigne.
I have worked with her actually a couple of times. I photographed her early in her career,
I'm a big fan.
Then she's pretty cool. That would be interesting. I didn't get asked to do the wedding, but that would have been cool. I wonder who shot the wedding.
I don't know who shot the wedding.
Yeah, I don't know. But that would be the goal. Honestly though, it doesn't matter if I'm a fan or not. I mean, the live concert experience is so much fun. So I did in 2010. Over the summer, I was the tour photographer for the Lilith Fair. Sarah McLachlan, all the female singer-songwriters. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how did that happen?
Exactly, all female singer-songwriters. And you'd think from the outside, like, oh, that seems like an odd pairing, right? Yes, I'm a man, and I'm, yeah. So, but I got to tell you, I loved it. First of all, being on tour is just a blast, and the crew are the same in any tour you do.
It's a nice family.
It's a really nice family environment, and I love watching people who are really good at what they do. And Sarah McLachlan, for example, they just brought me back. I just photographed her new tour program. So I spent a week out on the road with her a few months ago. So I love watching her do her thing, right? And honestly, before that, I hadn't bought any of her albums. I don't sit home and listen to Angel all day long and, cry in my sleep. So, but she's so incredibly talented, and she's such a sweet person that it's a blast. So, I would tour with One Direction or anybody, because
it's anybody that gives you the access to do what you do.
Exactly. I mean, One Direction, think about it. They're like the Beatles of today. I'm not comparing them musically.
Whoa,
I'm not comparing them musically.
Clock.
Relax. But But that environment of millions of kids going crazy, I mean, photographically, you can't beat that.
Because when you go into the little venues, it's the same thing each night. When you go into those massive stages, you know when the lights are going to go. It's like that's the point of shooting multiple shows is you know where everybody's going to be on stage. Yeah. You know when the lights turn on so that you know this night I can go up here into the crowd and get this shot that I couldn't get before.
But the stadiums are more fun than the arenas because the arenas look the same pretty much anywhere because it's dark except for their stage. Yep. In the stadiums, I mean, we were in Scandinavia and it doesn't get dark, right? Wow. So I've got a blue sky at 11:30 at night, and that I can use that photographically in a way that I never could before. We're in Bucharest in front of Ceausescu's palace, and I know immediately I've got to get that picture of John with his arms out in front of that massive building. So I got really excited about the stadiums because it's a different thing every night, and that goes back to the old journalism background that I have, being able to adapt to what's going on.
That's the fun part. So before we wrap it up, what do you have to say to people coming up as photographers? What kind of advice can you give them?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a big part of it is we referenced a little bit, people do get too wrapped up in the technology and, I got a new camera, so now I'm a good photographer. So it really is 1% of the equation, if that. It's really about your eye, and it's about what you do with it. As far as this kind of photography, it's all about relationships. It's personality, right? I would say that this gig was about half photography and half knowing when to be in the room and when not to be in the room. Yeah. So there's a trust level that I developed over time with the band where I could walk in at any time and they wouldn't change what they were doing. They wouldn't stop what they were doing. So I take that responsibility very seriously. So, if you want to do this kind of photography in particular, everybody knows, everybody has a friend in a band, right? So you can easily go out and document them. But you got to develop those skills to not only get the pictures, but also to know how to hang and know how to be there without being there, and those other kinds of skills that really come in handy.
And your work needs to be good.
And you got to be a good photographer at the end of the day.
We got to leave it at that.
There you go.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy.
That was fun. All right, let's jump into Gear of the Week.
Let's do it.
All right, Sutter, you want to grab the Gear of the Week? You can take your time because we'll talk about it. It is the Pixel Stick. If you guys recall, many, many moons ago, they put up a Kickstarter that took many, many moons to create.
It did, but it's freaking cool.
It got funded out the wazoo. It comes in it comes in a bag that's padded, which is nice. It says Pixel Stick somewhere.
Not on the bag, but I guess on the actual
Sutter,
product.
stand close to the table here. Sutter's going to get it set up. And I mean, if you're in the gay community and you need a moving rainbow, you've got the Pixel Stick. No, I mean, it keeps turning off.
Oh, because you have there's all kinds of different settings apparently, I think, right, Sutter?
We haven't set it up yet, but if you guys Google Pixel Stick, you'll see what they've done with it. Didn't they just do the Saturday Night
Live intro title, which is awesome looking? So basically, they have a whole behind the scenes of how they shot the SNL with the Pixel Stick.
Because look, Sutter just spinning this right now. If we were to do a long exposure, then this would show up. Mm-hmm. I mean, this thing, what was so cool about the Pixel Stick is the idea that we could put my FroKnowsPhoto logo in it and spin it and do something, and walk it and have it draw the logo. Yeah. It's digital. When you would go across like this, the pixels will change.
Literally pixel by pixel, it draws it.
Right, which is so cool.
Paints it, I should say.
Well, there's so many different creative outlets that you can do with something this. Mm-hmm. What I love about the Pixel Stick guys is that this is the second thing that they've done on Kickstarter. The first one was that lucid dreaming thing.
Oh yeah.
And then
did you ever use it? You got one?
No, I never used it. I lucid dream all the time. I wake up when a girl's next to me and I don't wake up, but I molest them somehow. I'm still sleep molesting women.
That's good.
It is. I know. I Googled it. It's called sexsomnia. I Googled it because the girl the other night.
Those Billy boys went.
Well, the girl the other night, she's like, you woke up in the middle of the night and ... did me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't remember that.
That's funny.
Because it just happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the Pixel Stick. You could see what it is with the LED lights.
Demonstrating how it actually breaks down into 2 pieces or 3? 3 pieces.
So it's 3 pieces. It's cool.
Handle. 2 actual light panels. And you can do different diffusion panels, I believe, too.
What I want to say about this, though, you can see their site and see the different things that you can do and walking like the yellow brick road and all this stuff at night. There's some, thank you, Sutter. There's some awesome things that you can do with it. I just love the fact that they had an idea and they went and they put it up on Kickstarter. and they got it funded, and they got it out into the world. It may have taken longer than expected because they had to do some, there's always an issue. But the fact that they sourced the materials, they had an idea, they designed the schematics, they made it all work.
And that's the thing, it does work.
Yes. It's just really cool that they were able to do that. So that is the Pixel Stick. That's Gear of the Week. And now it's time to jump to the Wheel of Fro. Z. So what we're going to do here while Sutter is, I don't know, he's taking notes or something. He's like over there taking notes. He's going to put the little wheel up.
Sutter's a one-man band.
So he's going to put the little wheel where we used to put the other wheel. It's heavy. You may want to use 2 hands. It said something on the bottom. So this just, straight. It can be straight.
Yep.
So I asked on Facebook yesterday, I put up the new wheel, and I'm like, who wants to get a spin? And I asked people to say, what would you like if you got the wheel? Like, if you got the spin, what would you want to win? That was a way that I could see people, and I said, be detailed, because I want to see what people have to say. So what I did is I went ahead and I picked a bunch of those people, 12 of them to be exact, and I put their names here on this wheel. We're going to spin this wheel to then see who wins the name. We're gonna see what name it lands on. They're going to get to spin the big wheel.
Nice.
So, Sutter, do we have something like the little wheel of Fro sound that you could come up with?
Really deep.
No. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Wheel of Fro.
I'm not gonna read the names of the people on it.
Okay.
All of it. But
so we're just gonna name. We're gonna announce the winner. That is loud.
Yeah. Well, because it's a slower wheel, you have to spin it harder, and
it's like a dirt
going
bike.
to be Mark K. What's it say? Marcel
Marcel
K.
K.
Bauer. All right, let's get rid of this wheel and let's get the new wheel in here. Congratulations, Marcel. I forget what he said that he was interested in, but he was interested in something. So we are spinning for Marcel K. Bauer. All right, let's get the wheel of Fro out here. Sutter's going to roll it in.
Onto the giant Big Brother wheel.
The big wheel.
The big wheel.
Big wheels keep
were the
on
best.
turning. Oh, speaking of Froggy Fresh.
Froggy Fresh?
Yeah, so he put out
rapper?
a new video.
What did he used to be called? Krispy Kreme.
He used to be called Krispy Kreme. Well, now he's Froggy Fresh.
Krispy Kreme sued him.
Oh my God, he is so funny.
He's so
I watched
the Christmas one.
I watched the one about bikes. The bikes got Mike's bike got stolen. All it is a big wheel. This one's pink.
I still can't tell if it's like a joke or if it.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
It's funny as hell.
It's so funny.
All right, so let's go. Oh my God, that's Froggy Fresh on YouTube. Doesn't put out a lot of videos, but they're funny as hell.
So funny.
Because they're literal videos of this white Southerner guy rapping.
Yeah.
Was he from Chicago? I don't know where he's from.
I don't know.
He's got an accent.
Yeah.
But all right, so here we have the Wheel of Fro, the new Wheel of Fro, and the prizes that are on there. We got the question mark. If it lands on the question mark, which it did last week, by the way, the kid, he wanted the Think Tank bag.
Okay.
So he's getting a Think Tank Urban Disguise 50 Classic. That's the new one in leather because they're out of the version 2.
Gotcha.
I also ordered one of those for myself for my new laptop. So if it lands on the question mark, then Marcel gets to pick whatever he wants.
Cool.
Rode microphone. Big thank you to Rode. Usually they give a good prize. Squarespace. Squarespace.com/fro. You can get 10% off a full year of service. We love using Squarespace. Adam just switched over to Squarespace, by the way, and he actually likes it a lot.
Nice.
He was the one who used Squarespace back in the day, like many, many years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's just like, it just works. It's so functional. So you got Squarespace. Plastic Printers is giving 250 business cards, I believe. It's a nice offer. Fro Prize, Black Rapid, Lightroom. That's for Creative Cloud. We're giving away a year of Creative Cloud. That's the $9.99 a month. So that's a nice value.
The photography bundle.
The photography bundle. We've got Temba bags. We've got $500 prize. It's not for $500 in cash. It's for $500 in Adorama Pix credit. Adorama Pix credit. We're going to be changing this up throughout the year. Maybe we'll get some major prizes. Rode microphone again. Squarespace again. We've got Adorama Pix for $250. No, it's not $250 in credit. It's like $100 in credit, or they give you a photo book, which is nice. Another
nice.
Fro prize, Ben Rowe tripod, which I think is what Marcel is looking for. $250 in borrow lenses credit. Think Tank Photo. They're the one that the prize landed on last week, and what they got. And obviously, I have every Think Tank bag that you can think of. So now it's time for
The Wheel of Fro.
Around and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. The new Wheel of Fro is going to stop on... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I think we have a chance for that middle.
it gonna be?
Middle.
Whoop,
Oh! Squarespace. Oh, I'm not supposed to yell. So congratulations, Marcel. You are getting a free year of Squarespace Business. Squarespace Business valued at something like $200. Obviously, awesome. Congratulations. That is a great prize. You'll get your setup one day.
Yes, one day.
Didn't you say last week you were going to have it done for this week?
I was hoping I would get it
what
over the
happened?
holiday
Your
break.
girlfriend get busy?
Huh?
Did your girlfriend take your time?
I forget what I did. I did something else, but it wasn't the Squarespace site. No, because I bought the new hard drives to switch over all my personal
that's what
stuff,
you've
and I
been
didn't
doing.
set it up yet. That's why. I've been switching around the Drobos for the past couple of days to fix all the hard drives and everything.
Being that's the end of the show, I have to recap this real quick.
Yep.
We have good show.
Very good show.
Good photo news. We did go a little longer than expected. Cool interview. Here is the book, Bon Jovi Work by David Bergman. It is a huge book. I'm big into photo books that are big.
Oh, yeah.
I like big things.
You use big a lot there.
I like big. I like the movie Big.
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Wait, what?
Tom Hanks.
It is a
I've
good
never
movie.
seen it.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Shimmy,
Wait,
shimmy,
should
cocoa,
I yell
what?
at you?
Shimmy, shimmy, wow. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa, what? I got a biscuit, a trisket. She says a tisket, a tisket. Shimmy, what?
I thought you were singing Nelly there for a second.
No, but that's the song in the movie.
Yeah.
So this book is fantastic. Check it out. I don't believe it's on Amazon. I think you have to get it directly from bonjovi.com or whatever.
Bon Jovi ships it himself?
They ship it. But let me tell you something about the shipping. It's one thing to have like a $50 book, and then they charge me like $22 for shipping, which was surprising as hell for shipping.
Wow.
It was like, and it's coming USPS. I know it's a heavy book.
It is heavy.
This is not a $22 shipment book.
I mean, it's probably what, like 3-4 pounds, maybe?
Amazon
5?
ships this stuff all day long for like $4.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
yes, that's Amazon. So just know you're going to spend $79-ish for this book, and it is worth it. It is worth it because. I mean, double page
that's
spread.
Nice.
What he captured on this tour is great. So that is the book Work. Just be cognizant of the extra shipping that when it you'll see it before you check out. But this book is worth $100 if you were to spend $100 for it because of the quality of the work that is in here. You know, I love books. I love big photo books. I love behind the scenes looks, and that is what I have to say about that. So don't forget about the contest, FroKnowsPhoto Guide to DSLR Video Contest, where you can possibly win a Nikon D750 or a Canon 7D Mark II, and then a DJI Phantom, and then a bunch of other stuff. There's a no purchase necessary option. There's also, if you've already purchased the DVD, the download or the DVD, you are entered. And if you purchase it from now until the end of the contest, you will also get entered there. So you could buy and enter, and you can enter the no purchase necessary option and get multiple chances to win that way. And then we'll do that big show, and that is where we're gonna leave it. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. And that's it. I'm just gonna sign out.
That's it.
Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.